Comic books, video games, anime, sci-fi. If you've been made fun of for it, we're probably going to talk about it.
One question. Is it too late to change the name?
Nerd Radio starts now.
Right now. Nerd Radio starts right now. Right now.
Now.
Right this instant.
Yep. My name's Chuck Bean, and welcome to some Nerd Radio
Change up
here.
the word. Yep. James and his thesaurus.
Right, exactly. Somebody got him a thesaurus calendar for Christmas,
Wonderful.
and he's right in there.
Yeah, it's word of the day.
Welcome to Nerd Radio. My name is Chuck Bean. I am joined by the man who makes children cry everywhere in Realm Royale, James.
Aha,
to my left.
That's me. I thought you were going to lead that into Al.
I was
Al doing that. I was like, Al's making kids cry.
What really worries me is I was afraid of the same thing. So what does that say about me?
I was like, what did Al do to make kids cry?
Makes
recently?
children cry, and everyone's like, well, probably me.
And the man who puts the ash in mash, Al Beck. 2 for 2. Got him. They're not as good as last week, but you know what?
No.
Now I've set the bar. Now I have to think of something on the way to introduce you guys with on the way in.
Diarrhea and Thai food.
Yeah, well, that's what we found
Well,
out.
the Thai food puts the diarrhea in me.
Wow, we're already in the toilet here on Nerd Radio.
Literally.
Follow us on social media, Nerd Radio 101, and join us every Wednesday morning on Checkpoint. Right,
Yeah,
the
Checkpoint Twitch channel.
Yeah, the Checkpoint Twitch
twitch.tv/checkpointxp.
We're also, as a podcast, you can download us on WRF.com, wherever you get your podcast, and in, I almost said Chicago again, in Boston.
Rock929 to rocks.com.
It's a little
Different
known,
classic rock band.
It's a little known
Yes.
fact about me is that Chicago and Boston, same place, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, not at all.
I've been to both. They looked exactly the same.
You
I took a
probably
left.
made a lot of people upset with that comment.
I took a left turn down one street and a right turn down
Well,
one
we
street.
were once available at rock929 to
Well,
rocks.com.
now they don't want us.
Been
We'll be
removed.
disowned.
It's all my fault.
How dare you?
Great.
You know, piss off all those Bostonians.
Right. So we get together every week. We talk about a whole bunch of stuff that's going on in the world of pop culture and nerds and everything like that. And this week, no different than any other. You guys doing all right this morning?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, because I'm feeling a little. There's some stuff going around. And
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel a little bit of it.
Yeah, I'm
but
feeling that too.
I know. I was a little bit nervous. I had my nephew on Monday.
You did. I
for the
wanted to
day.
talk about that.
Yes, and he had a little bit of a sore throat. Like nothing too crazy, but
Yeah.
you know, kids are little germ machines. So.
Right. Yeah, and I was telling Al before we started, like I do some part-time work with a guy at a comic store, and he was sick yesterday.
Oh, no.
And yesterday is the day that we put out all the comics. So like
So they're all infected.
no, so he left.
Oh, okay.
He took off, and he was like, "Hey, I need you to do everything today." So I was like, "All right, that's cool."
So these.
Yeah. So those are your.
Oh my God!
Both of them.
They're carriers. All both of them.
Yeah. No, it's secretly it's chemical warfare. I'm getting
Yeah.
Al Beck sick here.
Well, now I want to listen to Slayer. Warfare.
So let's start off on a down note.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just found out this morning.
Which is the way we should do it, not like how I normally.
not like how we've been
breaking
doing
news
it.
like
Yeah,
this.
you always end the show with your death watch.
Yes,
Right.
this is a death watch.
Yeah, so Monty Python star Terry Jones famously was the woman in the Spam, the waitress in the Spam skit, and he was the big guy in was it The Meaning of Life that vomits into the bucket. He has passed away at 77
Yeah.
today.
That's too bad. I was like, I don't know what your guys' experience with Monty Python is. I love Holy Grail, and I have seen Life of Brian and a couple episodes of Flying Circus. So they're not like a huge part of my comedic repertoire, but I mean,
Right.
goddamn, Holy Grail's so good.
I do love some Monty Python.
I do, even though they're not a huge part of my repertoire, like I've got tremendous respect for them. So,
Yeah, Holy Grail is definitely one of those movies I've seen over 100 times.
oh my God,
Wow.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
over and over. Know the specific lines. At a store I used to work at, it was like an anime/Magic the Gathering card store. We would banter back and forth in scenes from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, like because
Yeah.
we'd seen it so many times that
Oh,
we could line for line do entire scenes, and it was ridiculous.
That's funny. I've seen the movie like maybe 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
That's it. Like it's funny. I
Right.
own it. I think I actually own it, but I only bought it so I could get out of my Columbia House DVD agreement. So I think I spent like $30 on this movie. So I
Right.
watched it at least once, and I remember watching it in junior high. It's got some real funny stuff like
So-
that killer rabbit and
Killer
Rabbit,
the night.
Look
that
at the bones on him.
Yeah.
He could leap about.
the night that gets his arms cut off.
Yeah.
Just a scratch.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
You know?
I'll scratch your arms off. No, it isn't.
So-
Look.
So I feel when I get chickened in Realm Royale. Just a scratch.
Just a scratch. Just a scratch. Just a scratch. Give me 13 seconds and I'll be back
fine.
to
So
normal.
Holy Grail was just nothing but an exit strategy for you.
Yeah, I just need to get out of that Columbia House agreement. I was like, oh my God, all these movies. I got like 5 to 10 movies for like a penny. I'm like, I got to spend $30 on like 5 more movies.
Right.
I was like, why? Why did I fall for this scam? Why is this even legal?
It's funny too. I'm sure there are people now, and I say people, I'm sure there are youngsters nowadays that you tell something like that. Like, yeah, you used to get like 10 CDs for a penny, but then you have to buy 3. And they're like, what?
Well, they're like, what's a CD?
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Yeah.
What's a CD?
Right.
Well, it's a disc. It's a compact disc that you put into a CD player and it plays music.
Well, or their first thing is like, why wouldn't you just stream those movies?
Yeah.
Why would you buy it on DVD when you can just have
And
Netflix?
they're like, have you heard of Spotify?
Right, exactly.
Mm.
So, yeah,
We had Napster, and then it got scary.
yeah, or LimeWire.
LimeWire.
Ooh, yeah, LimeWire days.
Let me download 40 viruses
Antivirus,
so I can get that
antivirus,
one
yeah.
Rage Against the Machine song.
Yes.
That's mislabeled.
Yeah.
It's not actually Rage Against the
Right.
Machine doing
This
the
one
Degeneration
song
X.
ended up costing me $4,000.
Yeah.
I
Right.
had to buy 3 different computers.
I've killed a couple of different computers using LimeWire and Napster. For sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or it's labeled something else, but you download it and it's just, freedom.
Oh my!
I
never really.
have that one.
I never really thought about that before. That LimeWire actually ended up costing us way more money than
Just buying the album.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
because it just tanked a computer.
absolutely. Speaking of streaming services, there's a bunch of stuff going on streaming service-wise. I know, Al, you sent me this story this morning. Jon Favreau revealed on, I believe it was Instagram, that Mandalorian Season 2 is coming this fall.
Yes.
So we
So
don't
not
have-
a surprise. I mean, that was so huge, such a huge success that I think
Right.
we all knew it was happening. But it's nice to get the confirmation.
Absolutely, and it's nice to know that there's not going to be a huge wait between seasons. We talk.
Because I'll tell you right now, if Mandalorian wasn't picked up for a second season, peace out, Disney Plus.
There's already a bunch of people that are peace out on Disney
I'm
Plus.
going to illegally record my Adventures of the Gummy Bears. I'm going to illegally record my DuckTales, and then peace out, Disney Plus. We are done here. I don't need you anymore.
I love that James's digital smash and grab is for DuckTales.
Yeah. Just to get those real big nostalgia boosts, man. I just need the stuff that gives me the biggest nostalgia boost.
Scrooge McDuck is not going to be happy with you.
No, but he's got all those gold coins to swim in. He won't care. He
Yeah,
won't
but
miss it.
if he's not making all that money, then how's he gonna?
Who I would feel bad for is Launchpad McQuack.
Yes.
That's
'Cause
true.
Who is he? What's going to happen to him? You know?
Yeah.
I can only fly
Yeah.
helicopters for Scrooge McDuck for so long.
Quack. I like James' version of Scrooge McDuck's pool of gold is like USB flash drives. Just
Yeah.
full of DuckTales.
Come on over to my house, guys. What do you guys want to watch?
That sounds like
I have every single episode of Breaking Bad on one of these flash drives.
that sounds like me and backing up my games.
Yeah, right. Yeah. James, it's all DuckTales and close-ups of John Cena.
Yeah,
Right.
oh, don't you touch my John Cena close-ups.
By the way, this is a little off topic, James. Have you seen the Masters of the Universe WWE figures? They're supposed to be coming out.
Yes. I think they're already out.
They are out.
Thank you. You reminded me because I think the only
'Cause-
place around here that carries them is Walmart. And
Yes.
there's not a Walmart near me.
Okay, because I wanted to tell you, I was out shopping yesterday and I saw a couple of them. They have you have to buy the ring to get the John Cena.
Oh,
But-
you're gonna get me for that.
But John Cena comes with like Skeletor Triple H too, and then they
Oh.
come with like the ring, and John Cena's got the He-Man.
yeah, man. John
bandolier
Cena
or
looks
something.
sweet. Is Finn Balor one of them too?
I think so. Is
Because
the
I was
demon?
like, well, if I get John Cena, I gotta buy my fiance Finn Balor.
right? Isn't that
But
funny
then
how
I know
that
does it
works?
even, does it even count? Because now that he got moved over to NXT, is he still a WWE superstar?
Oh, I'm
or,
sure.
you
I'm
know?
sure they still make action figures. If
But-
they can make money off of T-shirt or an action figure.
Wait, they're
Right.
moving people down to the farm leagues? You can get bumped down
well,
to NXT?
Al, be careful because I get into this debate all the time. NXT is no longer a farm league.
right.
Okay.
It
And-
used to be.
Yeah, it kind of was, and people were like, "It never was a farm league for WWE." And I was like, "Well, then ask anybody who's on NXT if they'd rather stay in NXT or get paid to be in the WWE." I'm going to guarantee you, everybody but like Thomas Ciampa is going to say, "I want to
Yeah.
go WWE."
Right.
But once they started the Survivor Series takeover and stuff, NXT just kicked everybody's ass, and which was my biggest gripe about the fact that they keep putting NXT over. Like they made NXT look even bigger than SmackDown.
Okay.
Like the new show that's debuting on Fox, they made NXT look bigger than Raw, their biggest show. Also that they can compete on Wednesday nights with
Al has
AEW.
traffic behind him.
Well, this is a studio used by multiple people.
Hi,
Right.
Norris.
Important business to do.
How
What's
are
going on,
you?
Norris?
I was just making sure my station wasn't messed up.
No, we're not messing nothing up.
Every time I come in here,
Nobody sits there.
after you guys, messed up.
No, nobody sits there. That's not it's Rick.
You'll have to show me specifically what gets messed up.
Yeah, it's
If you're being legitimate. If you're being facetious, then
weird.
man.
It's
Okay,
weird.
Both.
Okay.
It's
Both from
absolutely
column A,
weird.
both from
beard.
column
A
B.
little bit of both. And I just want to say hey.
What's going on, man?
Good to see you.
But yeah, I hadn't.
Don't touch doors and stuff, Al.
Yeah, stop doing it.
Well, I guess I'll put my pants back on.
You're getting us in
I was gonna
trouble.
go sit in his chair.
No, don't do that.
Just let it go. These are mess chairs.
Yeah, but so anyways, NXT is no longer really considered.
Okay.
Like they're on the same level
Now
now
I-
as Raw and SmackDown.
For the podcast listener, I don't follow wrestling at
Yeah.
all.
No.
So pretty much all the information I get is from you guys talking about
Right.
So
it.
pretty much everything I
And-
just said was probably Japanese to you.
Well, no, it does make sense, but
Okay.
that was kind of like when I brought it up. Like you can get booted down to NXT.
Right.
Like that. The last time you guys explained it to me, it was kind of like a farm.
Yeah, and
league.
NXT was usually only on the
For
network,
up-and-comers.
the WWE network, but now they're on USA Network.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
they
they're
decided
on TV.
they decided to put them head to head with the competition on Wednesday nights, and so
that makes sense. And then of course they're gonna shake it up and put some of the veterans on there, though.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so
and that was the
Finn
thing
Balor-
too, is that they would call people up from NXT and then not use them for so long that eventually they'd be like, "Hey, do you want to go back to NXT and work?" And they'd be like, "Am I going to be on TV again?" Because yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm
here's
sick
my.
of being in catering every week.
I know we weren't really trying to get into wrestling here, but my final question on that topic, specifically to you, Chuck, because as we've talked before, you are sort of like going off the beaten path,
Sure.
with comics and everything else, and you kind of gravitated towards NXT because it wasn't The Undertaker and John Cena and all of the big names. Do you still like NXT, or are you losing it, or
Wednesday is when you watch wrestling. This is funny because we're probably going to talk wrestling next week. With,
Okay.
we'll have Erica in because this
Royal
weekend is the
Rumble.
Royal Rumble. And Wrestle Kingdom happened a couple weeks ago for New Japan. She's a big fan of that and stuff like that. But Wednesday is the new Monday Night Wars.
okay?
Wednesday is when All Elite Wrestling has their show, and then head-to-head against that on USA is when NXT is rolling. And yeah, NXT is just, it's phenomenal because those guys work a less of a schedule, so they go harder when they're on TV.
Okay.
So they work a lot faster and they beat each other up a lot harder.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if like bringing bigger names to that brand was going to help ruin it for you,
No.
or even the fact that it's off the network and on broadcast. Well, I guess it's be cable.
Right, I know a
network,
lot of wrestling fans felt that way. It's like, oh man, they're going to move it to USA, and then Vince McMahon's going to have his fingers in it, and it's going to be awful. But really, that's the charm of NXT is the fact that you've got guys who are booking it. Shawn Michaels works down there with a lot of the wrestlers. Matt Bloom, who was Prince Albert back in the Attitude Era.
Oh, that's his real name, huh?
That was
Prince Albert.
Yeah, well, his real name's Matt Bloom, but that was his wrestling name. He was Lord Tensai at one point in the Ruthless Aggression era too. But all these guys who worked in the last like 20 years or something like that are now the guys who are booking and helping the new talent down in NXT.
I
And
think
it
Triple
really
H
shows.
has more of the creative control over NXT
Yeah.
as opposed to Vince McMahon. NXT is more Triple H's baby, just using father-in-law's cash
Gotcha.
to
Okay.
make happen. And it's a great way to get new wrestlers, new talent to get acclimated to the way WWE does things.
Yeah.
And it's neat how it's set up. For
Okay.
me, it's not like I'm still a Raw and SmackDown guy because some of the wrestlers, there's some spots that are missed.
Yeah.
They definitely take more chances, and they have some great, like very interesting and intriguing characters and superstars. But I'm still like, I want to see like all those big name guys.
You want to see the big
Yeah.
name guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I was into wrestling, that's probably how I would be as well. I mean, that's how I am with comics. I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy. I
Right.
like Batman and Green Lantern, and I like the brand name, if you will.
You use that phrase a lot when in conversation.
I'm a fat, hungry man.
a
Meat and potatoes.
guy. I feel like that's code for something.
I'm
Well,
fat,
it could be
fat and
a
hungry.
couple of things.
The
Meat and
meat
potatoes.
and the potatoes.
Yeah.
So while
Once
we're
I've
on,
had my full of meat, I just gorge myself on those
Yes.
voluptuous potatoes.
I mean, I do love a sack potatoes.
Yeah. Al always goes full sack.
Lord.
Full sack.
While we're on the subject of streaming services, Monday the big news was that Netflix gained the rights to 21 of the Studio Ghibli movies. We talked a little bit a couple months ago about the fact that HBO Max is going to have them.
Yeah.
And everybody was freaking out because Netflix went on Twitter and said, hey, we're going to have Studio Ghibli movies. And what they neglected to mention is going to have them everywhere except in North America because HBO Max has them.
Remind me again, what are the Studio Ghibli?
That's the My Neighbor Totoro. Princess
Anime?
Mononoke. Yes.
Okay, the anime movie.
The anime movies, essentially the movies that way back in the day Disney bought the distribution rights to because they didn't want them to compete against Disney movies. And then eventually they sold the rights to I believe it's 4Kids, which is a anime translation distribution
I was
service.
like, they sold
like
it as just 4 random kids, like 4
no,
kids.
just
that
four
had some
kids
cash.
walked in with a big boatload of cash.
They just got a bag full of pennies. We'll give
Right.
you all this much.
Right.
Sold.
So if you're one of our listeners in Abu Dhabi or over in Europe, then which we do have a few.
There's a few. We don't know how,
At
but
least
there's a few.
Yeah, according to let me look at the let me pull up the window here. According to last week's stuff, we've got 1 listener in Australia, we've got 2 listeners in Japan, we got 2 listeners in France, 3 listeners in South Korea, 6 listeners in Singapore. We are huge in the Netherlands. 16 listeners in the Netherlands.
16 really confused people.
They keep waiting for when is that guy going to yell in German again? That's our favorite part.
Guten Abend!
See?
Wie geht's?
Right.
Ausgezeichnet.
All right, well, we're going to take a short break here. We'll come back.
Feierabend.
There's another story coming out of the streaming
I
services.
like this. I like this bit. It's like Al's German interruption.
Yeah.
I'm the German interrupter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every time.
Gleich
Chuck-
um die Ecke.
Don't you interrupt me, you interrupter.
Entschuldigung.
Yell at you like a lady in Target. We're coming back with more Nerd Radio.
Nein, nichts.